better bring it if we debating going toe to toe. No holding back, I'm speaking the facts. Let me introduce you to the dopest show. Nerdy D and Milwaukee Mike, bringing the energy. If you a fan of wrestling and especially WWE, this is the Casual Wrestling Show. Casual Wrestling Show. We got opinions, we letting them know. Casual Wrestling Show. Hey, ain't no holding back.
What is up, guys? It is the Casual Wrestling Show with Mike and D. I am the Notorious Nerdy D, joined as always by the one and only Milwaukee Mike. Each and every week, we bring you fast-paced hot takes for your listening enjoyment. Today, we're going to touch on a few hot topics from pro wrestling, plus give our takes on the Clash at the Castle card. But first, Mike, I have a sore throat, so my voice is going all over the place right now.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So I'm not going through puberty right now. All right, so Mike, we touched on this a little bit last week, but I want to continue on a little bit this week with the trend of the dirt sheets reporting on WWE contracts right now. People are going crazy. There's people saying that all these WWE superstars are basically working without contracts. I wanted to get your take on kind of the online hype and just how WWE is pursuing these things right now.
Yeah, so I guess my question to everybody that's kind of enamored with these contracts is, what are we really enamored with, right? Outside of Becky Lynch, the names that have been brought up recently with contracts expiring, they're just guys, really. I mean, outside of Gable, who's kind of in a heel storyline right now, you know, that makes sense why we would kind of be interested in terms of like what his contract looks like, if he's re-signed, if he's got some kind of, documentation within the contract that says, hey, after this program, I'm out. I get that. But what's all the noise with Ricochet? No one gave a damn about him before this contract situation came up. And all of a sudden, he's the best wrestler in the world.
Top 5, Mike. They tell me he's top 5.
I guess I just don't really understand it. Now, it's to be determined. They seems like they would have written him off on Monday with what happened. But, that could also be part of the storyline and trying to keep us enamored with what's going on. So I guess time will tell with that. But, it's just mind-boggling to me that now that all these contracts are kind of coming up in the news, that all of a sudden these guys that we really didn't give 2 cents about before, we all of a sudden give 2 cents about now. So I'm just wondering, in terms of, everybody out there, what really is the situation with that? Is it just because, we get bored and this is just a hot topic and hot news of the day? Or are we really fans of these professional wrestlers and we really want them to stay with the company?
Yeah, I think the AEW fans, they just need wins right now. So anything they can get, they'll take. But I'll double down on what I said last week, and that is, this is all fugazi. This is all bullshit, everything. And it goes deeper. They got me on Monday with the Ricochet stuff. I bought into it. I cut my whole thing about what does anybody care about Ricochet, but the reality is Ricochet's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. The way they wrote that story yesterday 100% let me know they're playing into the hype. They know what's going on. They hear what's going on the internet. But he's more than likely Ricochet's going to get married. Like, him and Samantha are going to take time off. This is storyline written. Now, could he come back and do something with TNA to even sell it more? Sure, 100%. He's not going to AEW, Mike. There's no. Like, he has to know he's just another face in AEW. He's not special. You are just of the mold of the AEW guy. At least in WWE, a guy like Ricochet, who maybe doesn't work a microphone as good as most people, you're special because you're the flippy guy. You're our flippy guy.
Right.
In AEW, everybody's the flippy guy. So it doesn't work. But I'm not buying this like Becky Lynch is unsigned, right? The Chad Gable's working as a free agent. I told you last week, these are just rumors.
Right.
This is all bullshit. It's fugazi. These are just storylines that Triple H is going, I'm going to tease the IWC. And what he's doing is, we talked about it, Tony Khan created this system with MJF, right? It was we're going to make WWE look like they can't sign MJF. So Triple H was like, fuck you. I'll do it with everybody. I'll do it with Ricochet. Yeah. I'll do it with Gable. I'll do it with Becky. And I don't know, I saw before we came to record the show, Roman Reigns is now on the list. They're talking about Booker T. So they're talking about Roman Reigns' contract is up in July and he hasn't re-signed and they haven't worked out. I'm like, this is insane. You guys really that's how I know it's bullshit, because I know Roman's not going. There's nothing for Roman to do. Roman's going to be under WWE contract whether he's wrestling or not.
Right.
Even if he goes to do movies, they're going to keep him on a WWE deal so that they can bring him back whenever they need him. But this is all bullshit. The Becky Lynches, the Chad Gables. There's no way Chad Gable continues to work this storyline over and over under this idea that maybe he gets sent off when this is done. There's no way. No different than Ricochet, right? Like, Ricochet, I'm assuming, based on this, that Ricochet went to management and said, I need time off. That got misconstrued somewhere, got to the dirt sheets. They go, Ricochet's not re-signing. I think he's going to get married. The fact that they use Samantha Irvine in the storyline, to me, like, they're not, I don't think they're letting Samantha walk.
Oh, no.
You don't want those pieces all tumbling other directions. And there's enough they can do with Ricochet to keep him happy. I do believe that maybe he shows up in TNA. He gets to work over there for a little while. And then when he's ready, he comes back more polished and ready to go, kind of like Naomi did. And that's what we get. But I'm with you, man. This is just all kind of overhyping. And even if it is true, it's Ricochet. Like, cool. I enjoy watching Ricochet, but he's not. I don't ever turn the TV on to watch Ricochet.
Right.
If he shows up on AEW next week, I'll go, cool, you guys got him. I don't miss him.
No, and I think this is kind of set up for him to come back and have a nice little run, right? When he returns, he's going to get the pop. He's going to have that momentum with him, and it's going to carry him in for a period of time that's probably going to satisfy his needs and wants, and it's going to all make sense. So, yeah, I just don't get how everyone's just so enamored with these contracts recently. I think we're all getting played.
I do too. All right, so second topic today, Mike, here is the Bloodline's growing on a weekly basis, right? We hear story after story. There's new Samoans that are joining, guys I don't even know about, right? I hear one guy over here, Jonathan Fatu or whatever, then all of a sudden there's another guy who's out of his contract that's coming. So I want to get your take. This is kind of growing exponentially bigger than we ever thought it was going to be. We kind of saw it being, all right, we're going to get two of these new guys. We'll have a civil war. But with all this new Bloodline 2.0 story kind of overshadowing a lot of the old stuff, do you think it takes away from the original Bloodline?
So I definitely am starting to have an issue with the booking of this Bloodline 2.0. And the reason I'm saying that is because I do think it's kind of smudging the work that's been made or done already up to this point, right? I think Solo's shown that he's grown, right? I think that part I'm cool with. But bringing in the Tama Tongas and the Tonga Lua, that it made no sense when we had Fatu that signed, and then we have Zilla that makes sense as well. I think those two should have been priority over Tama and Tonga Loa, because those Tama, the Tama, I'm gonna call them the Tama brothers.
I'm with you because it gets confusing.
No one really casual fans.
Yeah,
we didn't hear about these guys until they popped up. Right.
Exactly.
And it doesn't make sense how they fit into the Bloodline, right? And maybe over time we'll find out how that worked out. But yeah, man, I think there could have been a different booking situation where, maybe Solo turned on Jimmy, and then Solo goes on a run with Paul Heyman, and then Roman comes back at some point, and then it's some kind of a family. Just they should have kept it within the constraints of the family that was already given to us already. Now, I don't mind if the Fatu brothers, they showed up, because I think we all kind of suspected that was the route they were going to go at some point. But yeah, man, I'm just confused on the storyline so far, and where it's going direction wise. Now, obviously, we assume that Roman's coming back at SummerSlam, but I'm seeing news online now that that's maybe not even in the works.
Yeah.
So I'm worried that the longer that we keep going, this is going to start smudging what really was the best story in pro wrestling up to this point. And it's just going to kind of be forgotten, because all we're focused on right now is just, I guess, to put it lightly, this bullshit that we see on TV.
Yeah, so right now it reminds me of like a bad Disney movie sequel, right? You get the classic Aladdin, and then you get Aladdin 2, and it's like, what the fuck is this? It's not the same voices. It's not the same. I'm with you. I think it's too soon to pass judgment, because we know this shit can turn in 2 weeks and we're all back invested. But I'm with you on this idea of like too many new faces too fast that we don't recognize and we don't have history with. The reason the original Bloodline worked so well for me was I had history with every person in that group. I had a history with Roman Reigns. I had a history with Jey Uso. I had a history with Jimmy Uso. And then when Solo came along, they brought him in nicely. Sammy came in. Everybody had history. I don't know anything about these new guys. Like, you're going through and saying their names. I really can't even put faces to. I know there's the one that makes the weird noises, right? I think that's Tama Tonga, right? He does that thing. The other guy is like Camacho. That's how I know him. And until you erase that out of my mind, I still see Camacho when I see him.
Yeah.
There's two more that are coming that I don't really like. I read little bits about the other two, but I don't know anything. So I have no history with these guys, and it doesn't feel like they're making an effort to give them history. I'm with you. You said something, and I didn't have this written down, but now this is where I want to go. Jimmy is the missing link here. Jimmy should have started the new Bloodline.
Exactly.
And then been overthrown by Solo at some point to give us a little bit of history and story into. All of a sudden, I don't know what this new Bloodline is trying to accomplish is one problem, right? So is it just we're going to bully Kevin Owens? Is that like, is Kevin Owens just destined to be the guy that the Bloodline beats up on? Or are they going after Cody Rhodes? Because if they are not doing a very good job, are they setting up for the return of The Rock? Well, you're not doing a good job because now all of a sudden Solo's the new head of the table until Roman comes back. It's a little convoluted to me. I think that Triple H has to do a better job of kind of remembering what you said, that casual fans don't have connection to like guys from MLW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. We don't know who these guys are. So as far as I'm concerned right now, we have one guy who lost to Randy Orton in the King of the Ring tournament and makes weird noises. We have another guy who really hasn't even said anything. He just kind of, I thought they were going to like label him the enforcer, and they were just like, no, this is his official inauguration into the Bloodline. I was like, he's been in the Bloodline. What the fuck? Like, are we running out of stories here? That's kind of my concern is I see what you're saying. This can overshadow the work of the last 4 years if it quickly doesn't go somewhere. Because what I'm noticing that they do with the Bloodline is we hit these real high story points, and then it's like we just coast for a long time. Yeah. And that's okay if they kind of fall down the card on SmackDown, but they're still being featured like a big deal on a weekly basis. And I think Paul Heyman doesn't get the credit because he's having to kind of tie together loose ends. I think the little references to Roman keep me invested in like Roman's going to come save Paul at some point. And that's what I'm invested in. But I'm with you. A lot of new faces. Hopefully he comes back at SummerSlam, because if he doesn't, what do you do?
Yeah, man. I guess in my mind, I wish they would have just said, Solo, you're the guy to drive this vehicle until Roman gets back, right? Kind of like a revenge, his own revenge tour that, Roman said to do this. The head of table requested me to do this. Kind of have him do some dirty work until Roman gets back. Yeah. Maybe that includes turning on Jimmy. But now we're handing out nicknames, the right-hand man. And it's like, well, Jay's not even touching this storyline right now. So what? Not even interested in it, right? You would think at some point he would acknowledge that this is going on. Right. Yeah, it's just all confusing. Yeah, I don't love it. I'm like I said, keep my open mind. Next couple weeks, it could all turn around. But once again, this is going to be the second premium live event with no bloodline. It's kind of weird that Roman loses the belt and then we don't hear anything. Man. Speaking of Clash at the Castle, Mike, let's talk about the card. I think we know the full card at this point. I would assume they're sticking with 5 matches. I think so. I think so. Priest, McIntyre, Bayley, Piper, Sammy, Chad, the women's tag team match, and Cody and Styles. Yeah. On paper, this doesn't excite me that much, Mike. I don't know what it is. I can't get invested in some of these matches. Really? Okay. I'm the opposite. I'm a little bit the opposite. Yeah, man. I think this is. I said it the other night when they announced the I Quit match. Mm-hmm. This should be a nice, solid show, man. I mean, obviously the results I think are going to be cut and dry. I think that's what bothers me. I think the only one we really don't know about is the Drew Damian and how that's going to unfold. I think we can agree on that. Yeah. But I think all in all, the I Quit match, I think that's going to be a hell of a match, man. I think that's going to be, obviously we know the result, but I think it's going to be a hell of a match. I think the women's tag team match, obviously that's kind of a no-brainer. Yeah. Bayley and Piper, I think that's a no-brainer as well. Yeah. What else is there? So it's Priest, McIntyre, Bayley, Piper, Sammy, Chad, Gable. That's another one that's interesting because, I mean, God, man, this is what Chad's 4th or 5th attempt at it. I mean, you would think at some point.
This has to be the one to me.
Right. So that's interesting. That'll keep my eyes. And then obviously the Drew and Damian match. Obviously, I think there's gonna be some Judgment Day interference, which I know he won the match last night, so there shouldn't be. But we all know how that goes. I imagine that maybe CM Punk tips his nose in here, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
So my fear is here's what my fear is when I look at this card. I like the Cody Styles match. I don't know that had to be on Clash. I think Cody could have took a PLE off. This is Drew's PLE. And so is Cody and AJ finishing off the card? I don't love that.
I think they start.
Okay. Well, you're changing my mind a little bit if you think they start.
I think you put that first. Yeah, okay. I think that's where you go.
Then you give me a little bit of hope where I didn't have hope, because I was thinking that they're going to bury Drew and Damian early in the card, and I don't love that. That's got to be last, right?
That's got to be
okay.
last.
Then I'm a little more comfortable. I've never had interest in Bailey and Piper, because this is obviously, I don't love when I can see that it's like this is set up to play to the hometown crowd. It's Piper's local.
Oh, every match is, except for like Sammy and Chad. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the same with the triple threat tag team match. To me, I think it's the results that bother me, right? We know Bianca and Jay don't lose here. We know Bailey wins. We know Cody wins. So then, like you said, we have Priest and McIntyre, which I could go either way. I can make the argument let Drew pull the trigger and then have him lose it the following night on Monday Night Raw or something.
Sure.
And just build that CM Punk storyline. I did see the news article where Drew kind of said CM Punk better not interfere because he'll get his ass whipped by the crowd. That's interesting, because that's a little bit antagonizing. It's almost a free pass for the crowd to get involved. And Punk probably the kind of guy who can handle that.
For sure.
And then you have Sammy and Chad, which that's probably the most interesting match to me on the card, because the Otis element is exciting. If I'm booking this, I have Chad win and continue to beat down Sammy after the match. And then Otis steps in and for the save, which then leads to, we got to get away from Sammy and Chad. And I think at SummerSlam, we do Chad versus Otis is the match to make.
You would have told me that 5 months ago, I would have laughed at you.
I agree 100%. But I mean, Otis has all the momentum.
Now, and SummerSlam, that might be the match.
One of the most exciting matches on the card. It's been impressive building. I know in the works, Logan and LA Knight, that's not happening till SummerSlam.
Correct.
No Bloodline is once again a little bit strange to me. And then you still have like the Wyatt Six hanging around. I know the latest QR code now has a countdown, but it feels like we have a countdown every fucking week with these guys. It's supposed to be counting down to next week's Monday Night Raw. So hopefully we get that.
We said that at
last PLE too, yeah. We never thought it could go this long, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, man.
So overall, you've helped me out a little bit on this. You talked me through. I was afraid they end with Cody versus Styles, which I just don't want to happen. I don't want to end with an I Quit match. I don't want to end knowing that Cody wins. That bothers me a little bit. I don't like when we're early in a title run of a guy that we just know is going to continue winning.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I'd like Cody to lose the belt soon, to be honest with you. And win it back. But just so that we know he's vulnerable.
He's vulnerable.
Losing at one PLE and winning at the next, I'm completely like I would be fine if AJ Styles somehow won this match.
Okay. And
held the title for 30 days, and then at SummerSlam,
get it back.
It's Cody winning it back.
Okay. The only part that I see that not happening is because there's a stipulation now. So that usually means this is the last.
Yeah, no, I agree, but what a way to do it. You could have, the OC come out and get involved and hold him down and do something, do some sneaky shit.
Okay.
Because let's talk about SummerSlam real quick then. What is in line for Cody at SummerSlam? Randy Orton?
Oh man, I think that's where everybody wants us to think it's going, right?
So because it feels weird to just for your WWE champion just start something new in the run to SummerSlam.
Yeah, all signs would point to Randy.
To Randy, right?
I think we all assumed that Randy was going to be the first story.
Yeah, exactly.
So, who knows?
Interesting. All right, well, we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
All right, last thing here tonight, Mike. I know that you stirred up the IWC last week. You said a couple things that got the pot kind of boiling, and this is something I've experienced before. Sometimes you say something, and you don't even know it's that thing that's going to set the IWC off, but then they kind of get a little bit of steam in their engine, and they start to stitch and talk, and I'll tell you, it's because they can't create content on their own. I've learned this real quickly, right? They need to feed off of the content that we make in order to make themselves feel relevant. But I've been through it. I want to give you the opportunity. I want to open up the platform for you to talk about what you want to say to the IWC right now.
So I think you would agree that although I do side with WWE majority of the time, there has been times that I have talked negatively about the WWE, correct?
100%.
So I play both sides of the fence, right? Correct?
Yes.
So that's part of the issue that I have this week, right? A lot of comments that I've encountered over the last week have been, "Oh, this guy's a WWE stan," which admittedly I am, but I'm a casual fan.
Yes.
I do not watch every single episode of WWE television. Now I watch every PLE because I think everybody does, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the things that I do to keep in touch with what's going on in the world of pro wrestling, as I'm sure everybody does, is we go to X. We see what's going on with the dirt sheets, right? And this applies to AEW. And today, my issue is with the AEW IWC. Now, I have 2 clips that I want you to play, and I'm going to respond to them.
Okay.
Roll the clips.
The thing about a lot of anti-AEW motherfuckers is if it's on AEW television, nothing that's going on makes sense. But if you translate everything that they're doing on AEW to WWE, like copy and paste, then it makes perfect sense for some reason. Now, AEW definitely got screws that need tightened, but give me a fucking break, bro.
Folks, can we normalize not talking about things that we don't watch? This creator states that, hey, I don't watch AEW weekly and I think it's a jumbled mess. Well, yeah, man, if you don't watch the television show, that's a weekly episodic television show where the episodes build upon themselves, i.e. Game of Thrones, or let's be honest, most media nowadays, you're gonna be lost.
So the main thing that I want to kind of tackle today is, it seems to me that even though I don't watch weekly AEW television, I'm not allowed to talk about it. That's just it's not prohibited, right? I can't state my opinions on any type of pro wrestling if I'm not watching it. I find that to be incredibly stupid, right? Because episodic television, every week before a new episode shows, what normally happens? We're showing what's happened previously, correct?
Yep.
When we watch WWE, when there's a random match or something with a storyline, what does the commentary team do, or what does the video packages do?
They set it up.
They set it up, right? So when I tune into AEW television weekly or bi-weekly, I want to be informed on what's going on and why this makes sense. Now, what happened last week, I tuned into Double or Nothing, and then I tuned into the following Dynamite. I watched Dynamite, and I found that to be an extremely jumbled mess with no information on why I'm watching makes sense. That is exactly why I came on and I talked the way I did, right? Now, the comment, "Oh, you shouldn't put dirt on Roderick Strong's name." Okay, cool. I was in the heat of the moment. I said Roderick, whatever the hell his name is. Sorry, all right?
So wait, what is the deal there? What are they saying?
Because I said Roderick, whatever the hell his name is, people just assume, well, I'm throwing shade on Roderick Strong.
All right. I don't know his fucking name.
Come on now.
I don't know. I wouldn't know his name. And whatever the fuck his name is not. The difference is, Mike, and I'm going to cut you off for a second. I'm going to let you go again.
I got you.
The difference is I think it's athlete speak versus internet nerd speak.
Sure.
In a locker room, it's very common to say, what the fuck is his name? Oh, what's his fuck?
Right, exactly.
It's not meant negatively, right? You talk about someone on another team and you're like, oh yeah, old John, who the fuck or whatever. Like
exactly.
So when you say something like that, I don't even miss a beat. I don't take that as a shot. That's why I was confused about what you were saying. So you can continue on.
Yeah, exactly. So another issue that I came across was the fact that I don't watch weekly. I'm not allowed to have my opinions. I'm not allowed to come on a platform that me and you share and kind of created, right?
Yes.
I'm not allowed to speak on what I see happening. Basically, this is what I want to boil it down to. The reactions that I got are the exact reason why AEW is struggling.
100%.
Because everybody that wants to come in and put their finger on, oh, this guy shouldn't be talking, or oh, this is a stupid opinion. You're the reason why a lot of people are ditching AEW, right? The reason why the arenas that you go to, which I remind you are secondary small arenas that you
100%.
can't fill, are not getting full, right? Because they know if I go to this show, these fucks are going to be there. And I'm trying to be humble, but I'm going to say fucks, all right? So
I agree.
The reason why the ratings are down is because those people that want to keep on bashing people for having their opinions on things, it's a revolving door. I'm a casual fan. I don't have an affinity to AEW. I will tune in when I want to tune in, and when I tune in, I want to be up to date on what's going on. Now, in the video, he said, hey, AEW has a couple screws that need to be tightened. Well, there you go. You just kind of tattled on your own product, right? You said, oh, when you watch AEW, it will look a little confusing and jumbled up. So you're basically saying exactly what I'm saying, right? And the moniker that, oh, only the best in the world come here to wrestle. Is that so? Because last time I've checked, when somebody says they have the best something, like the best coffee or the best donuts or the best pizza or the best athlete, what happens? You usually attract people on a daily basis to come see and taste the product. That's not happening with AEW. So if you want to get upset about my opinions with AEW, you can keep your thoughts to yourself, because it's not going to change what I do, right? I will always have an opinion on what I'm watching. And when I do tune in, I want to be up to date, as I'm sure there's a lot of other people that tune in and want to know what's going on.
So
when
I'll
you
tell
tune
you.
in,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
When you tune into WWE programming as a casual fan, like I'm sure thousands of people did on the road to WrestleMania, right? You see all this stuff online. Oh, maybe I should check that out and tune in. When they tuned in, I guarantee you they were caught up in like, oh, this is why this is happening. That looks cool. I want to make sure I follow this. When you tune into AEW, it's like, okay, that dude's talking. That dude defended his title on Sunday, but now he's got a match with this guy that I don't know who it is. And this guy's got a title shot now, but hey, isn't there a ranking system over here? I just want it to make sense. And if you got a problem with my opinions, then don't watch the show. That's basically what I got to say.
So in my experience, it's less about what you said and it's the platform you say it on, right? What we do here looks better than what everybody else does, right? What we do here is getting more attention, and we are hitting nerves with certain people who they don't like the big thing is they don't like that we call ourselves casual, right? If we talk on the internet, you can't be casual. That's not, they don't understand that what we categorize as casual is what you said. Like, I didn't watch Monday Night Raw last night.
Yeah.
Big fucking deal. Like, I read about it. I went and read it. I didn't feel good. I read about it. I have a strong idea of what went down in Monday Night Raw. What did I do? Oh, the Ricochet shit. I went on to X, pulled up the clips, got everything I needed to know about that, right? I'm still informed enough to talk about it. The problem is they don't want us talking about AEW. They have to gatekeep that product. And I saw the one with the guy who fucking with the yellow microphone and
yellow mic, yeah.
So what I love is, right, what we do here is we try to at least be authentic, right? We turn ourselves up to 11 and say crazy shit. That's fine. But we don't have props. We're not fucking, like, it's not a shtick. That guy's a shtick. He's a fucking, he writes on his bio TV producer. Look, dude, if you're a TV producer and what you do looks like that and what we do looks like this, you should be fucking embarrassed of yourself. And so it says more to me that they just don't like the platform that we use. I've always said, our job here is not to tell people what to think. It's to spark the conversation that then goes on. I had one with about Ricochet yesterday. I kind of went in on Ricochet yesterday, and I had somebody who came in very respectfully and was like, look, you must not have watched Lucha Underground. Now, you could come in and be a prick and be like, you don't know shit and you haven't done your research. And I said, no, you're right. I never watched Lucha Underground. He goes, well, that explains your opinion. I get it. Let me explain to you who Ricochet was there, which led me to then pull up YouTube, watch a couple matches and go, okay, I understand where this guy's coming from. Still don't agree, but we can have civil discourse. The way they stitch videos and like the fucking like smugness of what they say makes me laugh, because the conversation could simply be, let me explain to you why I disagree.
Sure.
Let me explain to you why maybe you're not understanding the storytelling that I'm understanding. But the truth of the matter is there's nothing to really disagree on. It's obvious AEW is a fucking jumbled mess. That's what it is. It is a fucking mess of a show. And it has good moments. There's plenty of television shows out there like that, right? It's not Game of Thrones. We're not following this because we didn't watch the week before. We're not following it because it doesn't make sense. Like you said, you can watch the week before and still turn it on the next week and it still doesn't make sense, because Tony Khan and AEW, they have this expectation that you should have 50 years of wrestling knowledge. You should understand why Daniel Bryan doesn't like this guy who choked him in fucking 1987 in Mexico in some ballroom. Like, I don't have that knowledge, and I'm not going to seek that knowledge out. And if that's what it takes to watch AEW, great. That's why you have 600,000 people watching a week.
Yeah, I guess my closing thoughts are this, right? I'm a casual fan. I will tune in when I want to tune in. And when I tune in, I want to at least have an inkling of what's going on, right? So when I state my opinion and then you respond to me and I respond back to you, because I engage in healthy conversation and debate. I want that. But when you come at me and then I leave you a comment and you don't say anything back, that tells me everything I need to know.
Well,
you're a gatekeeper.
The deleting of all the comments is what makes me laugh, right? I don't delete comments. I let people call me fat. People call me fucking, like, that's part of when I put myself on a camera. I know that's what I'm getting. When he chose to make that response and then there is pushback from people, he deletes it to make it look to sell a narrative that like everybody agrees with me. So I'm with you. Like that's bullshit.
AEW has the potential to be a great product. They have great talent. It's just a mess. And if they can clean up the act, and it's just simple stuff, right? I'm not trying to sit here and knock AEW. I want them to succeed because competition is great in pro wrestling. We see that all the time, everywhere around the world. But when I tune in, I just want to know what the hell is going on. And if I have to tune in weekly to know exactly what the fuck's going on, then it's not a good product in my eyes, right? Because there should be some kind of a tying together of information and knowledge of things that are happening on television, and it's just not happening for me.
And the last thing I want to say is, like you're saying, they got to clean it up. They can't. You can't clean it up because of this IWC that is loud on the internet, and anytime they try to course correct, they freak the fuck out. They overreact. We don't want these new fans. We don't want this bullshit. We don't want this shit. Even though the reality is, right, they spend their time basically just going, WWE's a washed down product. It's the baby product. It's this. And then, like we said, right, Ricochet all of a sudden becomes a free agent, and now he's top 5 in the world. Yep. Well, so why wasn't he top 5 in WWE? Why weren't you guys supporting him to push him up to the top in WWE? Right. That's what I don't get. But it's tribalism on both sides. The difference is I embrace tribalism. That's what makes this fun. Right. We don't have to fight about it, but we can have discord back and forth and talk and argue in a way that's not, everything that they do is so gatekeeping and condescending is what pisses me off.
There's no understanding.
No, and they're not even listening, right? So I made the argument in that thread. I was like, dude, do you watch our podcast every week? He goes, it's not apples to apples. It's 100% apples to apple. You're choosing to be critical of something you're not watching, and you don't have context you're just assuming we don't like AEW based on one clip of a 30-second that you got from our video. It's the same thing. Like and I'm okay with that, right? Like it's okay, but don't fuck yourself up in your video where you're talking shit about us going, just cutting out 30 seconds or one episode and then having an opinion doesn't work. I'm like, you literally are doing that about what we do. It's fucking stupid.
I'm done.
All right, this has been another episode of the Casual Wrestling Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe, join the Discord, and follow us on social media. Do you have a last take today?
No, man, I'm taking.
I didn't bring anything either. That was my last take, was going in. All right, so we're going to ring the final bell and get out of here, and we will talk to you guys next week.